First of all, your reaction then to this 6.7% rate of inflation, better than expected. But as we're seeing prices at the petrol pumps go up, we could still be in store for more trouble next month.
Yes, this is good news and welcome progress on our plan to halve inflation. It shows that the Prime Minister's plan is working. Obviously, there's still further to go, but it does demonstrate that the disciplined approach that we've been taking to the public finances, the work that we've been doing to support the Bank of England on interest rates, and the support that we've put out, billions of pounds for householders to support themselves with energy costs, is all working, and we need to stick to this plan until we achieve our goal.
Home Secretary, I just want to talk to you about this online protection and get you to explain a lot to us. So Meta, which owns Instagram and Facebook and whatever, they plan to have end-to-end encryption, which for safety reasons many people may think is a very good thing. Why are you worried about this? Why do you think this is not a good thing? This is, if I send you a message on Instagram, at the moment it could be hacked or read. They want to put an end to that. So what's your concern?
We're facing a crisis, put simply, when it comes to the safety of children online. And the vast majority of these referrals that the NCA, the National Crime Agency, makes relate to paedophiles who are using Facebook Messenger and Instagram Direct to harm children, to abuse them, to coerce them into conducting themselves in a sexual way, an indecent way, a pornographic way. They're filming them, they're uploading those images, and then they're sharing them. And we also know that 80% of online child sexual abusers will commit in-person child sexual abuse. I've met survivors and victims of online and physical child sexual abuse, and I don't need to tell you, but it's devastating for them and their families. And for parents out there, what Meta is proposing will have a devastating impact on child safety.
Well, we've just seen the online safety bill become law. Why wasn't this, catered for within legislation? You just urging Meta is unlikely, if I may say, to have much impact, isn't it?
Well, our new law is world-leading, and it does include wide powers that the government can use via Ofcom, which will be the regulator, to direct social media companies to remove indecent material, to roll out technology, and to take steps to protect children online. So those powers now exist, and if they don't comply with these powers, they could face very heavy penalties, 10% of their global revenue potentially, or even criminal liability. So these new powers exist. My first preference is to work constructively with Meta to roll out the technology. We believe there is a technological solution that protects user privacy, that protects encryption. I'm pro-encryption, I'm pro-innovation, I'm pro-privacy, but I'm also pro-child safety. It's my job as Home Secretary to protect children, not paedophiles. And what Meta is proposing will totally disable law enforcement agencies from accessing this criminal behaviour, this sick behaviour, this devastating behaviour.
But you would accept they think they're coming from a good place on this, obviously.
Well, we've been working with Meta over the last few years, and we've been asking for evidence and reassurances that their plans to roll out end-to-end encryption will include robust safety measures that safeguard children. They've failed to provide those reassurances to date, and therefore I'm calling on them to work with us more proactively to roll out this technology. Otherwise, what will happen, put simply, is that paedophiles will find a safe haven in Facebook Messenger and Instagram Direct. They will be able to go dark. The law enforcement agencies will not have the access that they have today to stop them, to arrest them, to get justice. And we will only see child abuse online and in person increase.
So in short, it seems to be you're saying, look, we know how bad this problem is. We know how sick this is. We know how dangerous this is. And it suggests to me that Meta does not.
It suggests to me that Meta needs to work harder with us. We know that the vast majority of this activity takes place on Facebook and Instagram, and that's why there is a real responsibility on Meta to do the right thing, to put child safety above profits, frankly, and to work with us. It's a misrepresentation to describe this as a choice between user privacy on the one hand and child safety on the other. The two are not mutually exclusive. Tech experts, the industry itself, the regulators, Internet Watch Foundation, the NSPCC, the NCA, they all agree that a technological solution does exist which achieves our objective of protecting children online, allows them necessary and proportionate and very judiciously guarded access, and protects user privacy and protects the commercial objectives of companies like Meta. That solution exists. It's viable, it's scalable, it's feasible. I'm asking Meta to roll it out.
Okay, a couple of other questions for you this morning. I want to know if you think the Prime Minister is going soft on net zero, abandoning targets there, and whether or not you personally support the ban that at the moment is supposed to come in 2030 on petrol and diesel cars, or if you think it should be extended to 2035.
The Prime Minister will be setting out more detail on this subject in the next few days. So it's not for me as Home Secretary to preempt those announcements. But what I can confirm is that we remain absolutely committed to delivering net zero by 2050 in line with our international agreements. I'm incredibly proud of what the Conservative government has achieved when it comes to combating climate change in the last decade or so. We've reduced carbon emissions, we've increased the output from renewables, and we are seen as a world leader. But it's also right that we put economic growth and household budgets and the cost of living ahead. And fundamentally, we're not going to save the planet by bankrupting the British people.
Well, I'll tell you what else is bankrupting the British people, and that's the cost of putting asylum seekers into hotels. And your own department published their figures yesterday. They've gone up a third since Rishi Sunak pledged to tackle this problem to £8 million a day. And you'll be aware that GBNews viewers and listeners are very concerned about this issue. And it feels, certainly from where I'm sitting, as though you haven't got a grip of this problem.
Well, I very much share the frustrations and the concerns of your viewers when it comes to stopping the boats. And that hotel cost is unacceptable. And that's why we are rolling out large sites around the country to accommodate asylum seekers in a more affordable way. But it also underlines why we need to stop the boats and why our world-leading partnership with Rwanda is part of that solution. We need to deter people from making the journey in the first place. We need to be able to detain them and then remove them to a safe country like Rwanda. And we need to do that swiftly. And once we start doing that, which I'm confident we'll be able to do in due course, people will stop coming here illegally on boats, and we will have achieved that goal.
Confident that those who are held in migrant camps are not being mistreated anymore. This in the wake of the Brook House Migrant Removal Centre report yesterday, which found these shocking incidents of violence there.
The report about Brook House related to an incident that took place 6 years ago. And in that interim period, we've made a vast number of changes and improvements to our detention estate and our immigration removal centres. We have extensive monitoring, high standards of well-being, and we have rolled out lots of changes. But fundamentally, I don't want to be detaining people longer than necessary. I want to be removing people who don't have a right to be in the United Kingdom, whether those are foreign offenders who have committed serious crimes in the UK. They shouldn't be in our country and we should be deporting them swiftly, or whether it's failed asylum seekers who don't have a right to be here. We need to detain them and then remove them. Or whether it's anybody who has overstayed and is illegally here. Those removal centres are there for a very specific purpose, and that's to detain people for a limited time so that we can thereafter remove them to a safe country or back to their home country.